I'm feeling incredibly grossed out, so this may be hormones talking. I just gave birth a couple of weeks ago. Back in March, my husband and I bought an RV for $2,500 that needed new floors, some patchwork on the roof around the skylight windows, and some updated appliances. We worked on the RV all summer and sunk in over $4,000. Updated appliances are the only thing left to complete, but it's optional. Since we just had our baby, though, that's being put on hold, but we still intended to complete it by next summer so we could go camping and travel around for a few months. That's why we got the RV to begin with. Now my husband's sister, Jamie, 38, is having marital problems apparently, and for whatever reason, my mother-in-law thought it would be okay to tell Jamie she could have our RV since we aren't using it anyway. We are in no contact with Jamie following her running her mouth about us to the rest of the family because I refused to watch her dog for free anymore because I was heavily pregnant and her dog is a big, untrained nuisance. We haven't spoken to Jamie in at least 3 months. We went 100% no contact when we found out that she was heavily trashing our names. So why mother-in-law would give our stuff to Jamie baffles me on many levels. Therefore, when mother-in-law came here and said, I told Jamie she could have your RV because she needs to get out of her house. We already have renovation plans for the camper. I was angry. I asked her why she would give away stuff that wasn't hers and why she would think this was acceptable. She pulled the family helps family and pay it forward talk. Much to my surprise, my husband said, whatever. She already told my sister she could have it, and maybe it's good karma. He was angry but still agreed to just give it anyway. I basically told them both to go screw themselves because I had worked hard on this RV all summer while uncomfortable and pregnant, and I'll be darned if it's given away to a no-contact family member right from under my nose without even asking. My husband told me his mom would bring the RV to his sisters within the week. Without doing much thinking at all, honestly, I packed up the baby and moved us into the RV. I'm not okay with giving away the RV, and they both know it. So I took the extreme route. My husband says I'm being overdramatic and that we can get another RV eventually. We can't afford to buy a new one come camping season. Am I the idiot? You have a problem with your boundary stomping in-laws and your husband, who just lets them. Why would your other in-law give anyone your RV, much less one you've worked on for months? And why is your husband letting her walk all over him? So family helps family, huh? What has Jamie done to help you? She's having a fit because you don't want to watch her dogs and talking smack, and you're supposed to just give her an expensive RV? I don't think so. You are not the idiot. He's a coward who clearly is scared to stand up to mommy. OP, your husband is a doormat and will raise your child to be a doormat. Tell him no. Stay in the RV as long as it's safe, and tell him you aren't coming back to him until he gets therapy for being a doormat. Because one thing I do know, a doormat raises another doormat. If family helps family, let her mom help. Her mother's not helping her son or grandchild by reassigning someone else's assets. She didn't teach her daughter to respect when the family was already helping. It's not on you to set yourself on fire to keep sister-in-law warm. Mother-in-law and husband both need to stop pretending it is. Sure, you'll let your sister-in-law have it for $80K, or whatever price will sufficiently cover the sentimental value, physical and emotional labor already put in. Mom was helping. She knew where to get an RV for free. Ever notice how only the most cancerous piece of crap people say, their family, or family helps family? Because it's just some crappy way to try and force someone to do something that's rarely ever justified. OP should list mother-in-law's belongings and who they should be given away to, and start with something expensive that she's not using, like mother-in-law's engagement ring. I agree. Hey, mother-in-law, I'm going to sell your TVs and kitchen appliances to my uncle's cousin's baby's mama, half cousin twice removed. Family helps family after all. I'm sorry this is happening to you. Tell your husband that either he's married to you or mommy dearest. I die on this hill. The amount of audacity, overstepping, Entitlement and pure blatant disrespect cannot be tolerated anymore. So there's a lot of backstory here. My sister Lily, 35, had my niece Emma, tween, when she was 26. She was living with my parents at that time, along with her then boyfriend, and they had both just gotten out of rehab. She and her boyfriend could not stay clean for long, and she was using throughout her pregnancy. When Emma was almost 2 months old, she came to me begging me to take Emma for 2 months while she checked into rehab again to get clean. I was 22 years old and living in an efficiency apartment while putting myself through law school, but my parents insisted they couldn't care for an infant and had suggested foster care to my sister, so I took my niece in. When my sister got out of rehab, she got back together with her boyfriend, who was still taking that crap, and thus began 5 years of a vicious cycle where one of them would get clean, only to be dragged back under by the other. I took legal guardianship of Emma, although it was still supposed to be temporary. Every time Lily would bring up taking her back, I would agree on the condition that they both passed the test, and it simply never happened. When Emma was almost 6 years old, my sister came to me saying she was again pregnant. This was the turning point for her, and she gave birth to my nephew, having been clean for almost 8 months. Obviously, it was very hard for Emma and me, going from living with me to moving back with her parents. We went to court and worked out a custody agreement where I still have Emma every weekend, but she spends the weeks with her mom and dad. We attended family therapy together for the first year, and once we settled on a routine, we stopped. Here comes the issue. My sister is again pregnant, and she and her former boyfriend, now husband, say they don't want to allow Emma to come with me on weekends because apparently she comes home to them acting like a brat. I absolutely understand the issue. I explained to my sister that when Emma's with me, she is the center of attention, and going from having that to fight her brother for her mom's limited attention between bouts of morning sickness has to be hard. I offered to take my nephew on weekends as well to give my sister some rest or possibly resume family therapy so Emma could work through these changes. My sister simply told me that Emma would take a break from spending time with me. I let her have 2 weekends with Emma, and then when she continued to stonewall me, I threatened to take her to court. We have a custody agreement in place, and I am still one of Emma's legal guardians. She said I'm throwing the past in her face, and I won't let her be a real mother to Emma. I'm conflicted. I raised Emma for almost 6 years, and I treasure every moment I spend with her. But am I getting in the way? Emma calls me every evening and asks what we're doing over the weekend and why I don't have time for her. So my sister is spinning it as me not wanting her to come. I just want what's best for Emma. So am I the idiot? OP, she's not your niece. She's your daughter. Fight for her. You are not the idiot. It doesn't matter whose body she grew in. The reality is that from a psychological development standpoint, she's more your daughter than she's ever been your sister's. I can't imagine this will be easy for you to hear, but allowing her to go into their care full time is for her like her mom has just handed her off to people who've been transient and unreliable figures in her life. That kind of transition isn't just problematic for a child. It can cause significant emotional trauma and abandonment issues, much more than her knowledge that her biological mother placed her in your care at such a young age. Honestly, the fact that they're already disregarding the legal parenting agreement in place and attempting to use gaslighting and manipulation tactics to alienate her from you and make it seem like you're abandoning her is a huge red flag. I can't tell you what to do, but I will say that were I in your position, I would be going to court not to enforce your weekend visitation per the existing parenting order or agreement, but to fight for her to be returned to you for a primary residence due to attempted parental alienation on your sister and brother-in-law's part. What your sister wants is entirely irrelevant. It doesn't matter how hard she's working, or how bad she wants this, or how hard she's trying, because this is not now, nor will it ever be, about her. You need to make this decision based solely on what's best for Emma. How your sister feels or will feel about it cannot be a factor for your consideration. If Emma's bio mom truly loved her, she would put Emma first and let her live with the person who raised her, no matter how much it hurts or makes her feel guilty. We just had people over to the house for my 45th birthday. I reached my 30s without getting married, and then I met my wife, 29. She's perfect for me. She's the most beautiful woman I've ever met, and she's so much smarter than me, it's embarrassing sometimes. She's amazing, but she has one weird hang-up. She thinks some of my hobbies are immature, which is fine. She can be the mature one in our relationship. We have 2 kids, young grammar school age. I never thought I wanted kids, but now I know I couldn't live without them. They tried to get me a present for my big birthday, so we went to Toys R Us and got me a sweet Lego set. Then I helped them wrap it up so I could open it up at our party. All the guys were jealous of my new Lego set. I got some nice golf stuff and very nice bourbon, but all the guys could talk about was my new Millennium Falcon. For some reason, my wife decided to take the credit from the kids. She told everyone how she got it for me because I'm such a little boy. Our kids heard her and were confused because they knew she wasn't involved. They told everyone how they took me to the store to find something I would love. They each even put in some of their own money, $10 each, to buy my gift. When guys asked me about it, I told the truth that my kids and I had bought it and that my gift from my wife was the new golf clubs. She's upset that the gift she got me wasn't the one everyone thought was the best. She said I should have made it shift from the family and not just the kids. I told her that her gift was terrific, that I would be using them for years, and that I appreciated her getting me something useful. But I said that the kids had chosen to get me a toy and that she shouldn't try to take credit. She says I didn't even have to exclude her from the toy shopping, and I didn't need to tell people she wasn't involved in buying me my toy. I didn't. She's told me in the past that it embarrasses her that I play with toys. Not the idiot. If your wife didn't want the truth to come out in detail, she should have kept her mouth shut and not spent the evening explaining how she chose this gift. She finds your hobby immature, but she may change her mind because other people have shown an interest. I thought she was the mature one between the two of you. But if you do the math, she's 29. The older kid is young, so... Man, your wife tried to steal the thunder from under your kids. That's just shameful. She didn't think the kids, old enough to understand, wouldn't speak up. That's laughable. She looked much worse lying about taking the credit from the kids than keeping quiet about it. This is why she's more upset about the situation and blaming you for admitting the truth than admitting she screwed up. She got embarrassed by herself. My roommate and I live in a typical student dorm at our university. We didn't know each other until this year, but we formed a friendship. We're not like best friends, but we get along well. We've never really officially discussed boundaries or anything like that. We just treat each other with respect and use common sense, and that's worked out for us in the time we've been living together. Every now and then she'll tell me about her boyfriend, but she's never shown me any pictures or anything. All I know is he goes to another school a few states away, and they've been together since high school. One day she tells me he'll visit because he has a fall break. I didn't ask for any details when she said this and just said okay. Yesterday she texted me that her boyfriend was on his way and asked if I could let him in the room if he showed up before she was back. However, I didn't see this text until I got a knock on the door. I look through the peephole and ask who it is, and he announces himself as my roommate's boyfriend. I had never seen this guy before in my life, so I didn't let him in. I asked him if he could wait until she returned from class. He just said sorry to bother you and walked away. About 30 minutes later, my roommate came back with the guy from before. She starts asking me why I didn't let him in. I told her I had no idea what her boyfriend looked like and wasn't comfortable with some random guy coming into the room while I was alone. She told me that I was overreacting and needed to grow up. They leave and don't come back until much later. I'm just about to go to sleep and ask how much longer he'll be staying, and he says probably just the next 2 nights. I ask him where he's staying, and he gets this confused look on his face. Then he says he's staying in our room. I told him that I never agreed to anything like that and that he would need to leave. My roommate then proceeded to call me a witch. I stood firm, and finally they both left. My roommate sent me a message saying that they ended up sleeping in his car and was trying to guilt trip me. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Overnight guests in a shared dorm room must be discussed and agreed upon, not assumed. It's not your problem if your roommate and lover boy had to sleep in his car. Your roommate and lover boy can get a hotel room if they want to stay together. She doesn't have a leg to stand on, and she's free to be as angry as she pleases. She didn't ask if lover boy could stay over because she didn't want to hear the word no. I can't believe she thought it would be cool with you to have a perfect stranger sleeping in the same room without even asking you first. She did ask. She said he was coming over, and OP said okay. OP, you are the idiot. You said okay without finding out more information. Why? It's common sense that if someone has an SO visiting with the roommate's consent, they will be around the room and potentially staying the night. You're in university on a student budget, and a hotel would not be the go-to arrangement unless it's necessary. Where else would you think he'd stay without specifically making alternate plans? She brought it up with you ahead of time, as she should. She could have been clearer, but most adults with common sense would not think they must spell it out like that. When you said okay, the common sense implication is that you're fine with the partner staying over while visiting. I, 20 female, am currently doing a semester abroad in the U.S., as it's required for my degree. I speak English without any noticeable accent, so it's not unusual for people to be surprised once they find out I'm German. For my time here, I'm sharing a flat near the campus with Sarah, 21 female. Sarah regularly brings her girlfriend, Jessica, 20, into our flat to hang out or study together, and until now, the three of us have gotten along quite well. Last week, we were sitting in the living room when my dad called, and I picked up to tell him that I was busy and would call back later. Like in all other conversations with my parents, we spoke German. After I'd hung up, Jessica stared at me, and I asked whether something was wrong. Using an accusatory tone, she just replied, "You're German? Why didn't you tell me?" I told her that I just don't feel the need to disclose my nationality to people without any prompt to do so, and that I wasn't sure why she was bothered by that. She then explained that her family was Jewish and felt uncomfortable being kept in the dark regarding my nationality. I told her that despite feeling incredibly sorry for the horrible things done in the past, A, she hadn't told me she was Jewish, and B, I couldn't have known that she felt so strongly about anything relating to today's Germany. She then told me that when you're from a problematic country, you should tell anyone you meet right away so they can decide whether they want to get to know you and no one will feel threatened by you. I told her that those expectations were ridiculous and frankly stupid. If knowing a German person was so upsetting, she should start working on that problem because avoiding an entire nationality just wasn't possible. Jessica went straight to Sarah's bedroom afterward, and Sarah told me that I should have been more understanding, as Jessica was simply traumatized. Ask Jessica if people from countries with problematic histories have to announce themselves when they meet someone. Does she announce herself as American to people? Also, why is she acting like you're cursed because of things done by people in your country before you were born? Also, does she realize that a lot of Germans were themselves victims? Does she demand a full family history from everyone she meets so she can decide how much to judge them based on the history they're attached to? Ludicrous victim behavior. You are not the idiot. I'm a Jew with German ancestry and have a very German last name, so who should I inform? Furthermore, should I be offended by myself? My brain hurts from this. Jessica's being absurd, and it sounds like your flatmate is dating a nut. If she's triggered by anyone from Germany, she needs professional help. Perhaps she uses this as her way to feel special or a victim. Considering her reaction, you're doing Jessica a favor by not mentioning your nationality. Her expectation for you to reveal your nationality to spare her discomfort is a red flag. It's not your responsibility to manage her trauma without prior knowledge, and her demand that you disclose your background is unreasonable. By her logic, everyone on the planet now needs to declare their nationality when they meet someone because all countries have done problematic things. Honestly, that's not trauma. That's someone being a drama queen.